Well, just when you think all of this couldn't get any more ridiculous, it does. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the Wretched Watchman, and I'm bringing you a little bit of news on a subject that I don't necessarily like talking about, and it has to do on politics, of course. If you guys know me, you guys have spent any time around my channel, you know I don't necessarily like talking about this subject just due to the fact that it is entirely a distraction. It is completely rigged, and it's not election, it's selection. Everybody who has any type of prominence in politics in the upper levels of whether it's Congress or the presidency or anything like that, it's selected, hand selected people who are being put in place in order to get the agenda through. It's part of the Luciferian cult. It's how they control things and get things done. And it's how we've seen them, quote unquote, be right about things decades old. And it turns out to be true. And it's because these people are in there. And we just live in a society where everybody thinks politics is some type of way of fixing everything. If we just get that one right person in there, if we just flip the house, if we just do this or we just do that, then we'll be able to change things. Well, if you look throughout history, you don't have to go very far. Just look in the past, 20 years. Every time that you've gotten the right person in or you flipped the house, nothing was fixed. Nothing was changed. Nothing was done in order to do things. We continue to spiral down to what we see today. Now, I know that's not exactly bright news, and I've probably lost some of you guys already, but sometimes things just need to be said. And I've tried to kind of go around in this subject and whatnot, and I've been pretty blunt in the past, and I'm just going to be blunt on this one as well. And what's sparking me to talk about this is the recent news from a quote-unquote prophetess. She's the daughter of a supposed self-proclaimed prophet, and she was recently a guest on the Pete Santelli podcast, where they were showing pictures of a replica of the Ark of the Covenant that's sitting in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, so if we take a look, we can see the very cover of this, of the Pete Santelli show, and it's the vice president of the House of Destiny Network. This is Donnie, however she pronounced it, Clement Petruska, and she is the daughter, I believe, the eldest daughter of the self-proclaimed prophet Kim Clement. And yeah, let's just take a look and see what this is all about, shall we?
Really important, I want to share with you, and I haven't asked anybody that. I'm just trying to understand what's happening here, and I'm a conspiracy theorist as well, and I'm also relating it to the Holy Scriptures. I'm going to show you something right here, and I don't know if you know about this. Do you know about where that is right there?
That's in Mar-a-Lago. I saw this.
You did see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that Israel gave President Trump a replica, and I believe equally important because of the artistry that went into it and the craftsmanship, that it's biblical, that they're preparing the third temple, that replica is so important, and it was given to President Trump. How significant is that?
That's very significant.
It is?
And the alignment with Israel. My dad prophesied quite a bit about America and Israel.
Yeah, so you can see here, according to some of these pictures, Trump apparently had a replica of the Ark of the Covenant in his Mar-a-Lago location. And apparently this is coming out. It's crossing all over the networks of the Q and MAGA type stuff out there as well, which is pointing to, that seems to be stirring up some more theories, so to say, on the significance of what's going on. But you can see here, that's again the daughter, and she talked about how her dad had all these prophecies of what's going on and whatnot. So if we take a look, you see the picture. There's a couple of pictures, actually. There's one that's Laura Loomer, and that is she's definitely a part of the whole MAGA movement and all that stuff. I believe she's a part of the Reawaken tour as well, the Reawakening versus the Great Reset thing, which I've talked about how that is firmly involved with New Age, with mystery religion, and goes all the way back to Q. It's part of the Q movement. And then you can see James O'Keefe there in that picture with it right there. If you don't know, he was the founder of Project Veritas, something that people don't realize about James O'Keefe. He was actually trained by the guys at Blackwater. So yeah, be a little careful with that guy on all of that. But you can see there's several pictures. This is apparently at a dinner that Trump had at his Mar-a-Lago place, and it was about religious stuff as well as uniting Judaism and all that and whatnot. So we can see here we got this going on, and again, that's Kim Clement. He created the House of Destiny network, which is a it's new age really at its roots, because it has to do with using being prophets and seeing extra revelation from supposedly God, which we understand in the book of Revelation, no one shall add to this book or they'll be cursed. So we understand that there's going to be no new revelation coming. So there's nothing going on that's legitimate with that, as well as if you go on their website, you'll see that there's really nothing about Jesus Christ or salvation or anything like that. Actually, Kim Clement has talked about how you don't need to be born again in order to receive salvation. So he actually preaches the exact opposite of what Christ's gospel is, which you must be born again in Jesus Christ. It's through the power of his blood and becoming born again that you will receive salvation. So we can see that there's nothing Christian about this. There's nothing good about this. We see it's wrapped up in the Q movement. We see it's wrapped up in the occult, and we see it's wrapped up in things that we really shouldn't be getting wrapped up in. When it comes to the Ark of the Covenant, we don't know where it's at. We don't. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of really good ideas about where it is, but we don't know where it's at. But I can guarantee you that it is not at Mar-a-Lago. I can tell you that. But so what I want to talk about with this, because I'm seeing it ramping up a lot now due to the year and due to it being a high talking point among prophecy people out there. A lot of promotion about what's going on with politics and all these things and like that. So again, I've made my stance known that when it comes to things like presidency and Congress and whatnot, it means nothing. They're going to put in who they want to make sure that their agenda gets through, especially this deep into things. They're not going to have some thing happen that shouldn't. And I've made it known again also that I believe that the moment that JFK died that was it for America. America was toast at that point, because there hasn't been anybody after him that's actually hasn't been a part of the elites and the Luciferian cult and all these things. And again, I see a lot of people that are making excuses when it comes to Trump. Some people, again, I always like to put this in here. Some people say, you sure go after Trump a lot. Why don't you ever go after Biden? First of all, really, it's no, what is there to say about a guy that is riddled with dementia and Alzheimer's and should be in a retirement home? There's not much to say. You know, he's clearly not in control, but yet still people blame him for everything that's going on. There's no way he's in control of anything. And the dude is evil. He's always been evil. And he still is, even though in the condition that he's in, but all of his handlers are evil as well. It's quite obvious what's going on that end. I go specifically and talk about Trump because he still has this enchantment over the church and the Christian community. He still has this absolute enchantment where he can do no wrong and excuses get made for him constantly, but yet these excuses don't make any sense. And what I mean by that is the first time he was in there, he said he was going to drain the swamp. He never drained the swamp. He actually added to it. And then before he left, he actually signed a bill reversing any type of way in order to drain the swamp. You guys can look into that if you want to. And the excuse is, well, he just didn't know who was good and who was bad, but the second time he gets in, he's going to fix it. Okay, first of all, if he's as smart as everybody thinks he is, because everybody thinks he's absolutely smart. How was he duped the first time? And how is he not going to be duped the second time? Because there's a whole heaping load of new people in there. How is he going to know who's right? So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, he just didn't know he's going to fix it the second time, while at the same time he's saying he's so smart he's going to be able to fix everything. Well, he's either smart enough to fix everything and not get duped, or he's not as smart as people think he is and he was duped and that's not going to be enough to fix things. You guys can't have it both ways. You can't. He's also lied constantly about what he was going to do. I've heard people out there say he's always done everything that he said he was going to do in his campaign. That's a lie. He hasn't done anything that he said he was going to do in that campaign. He's created a show that was instantly reversed while doing a whole bunch of stuff behind the curtains that nobody wants to admit to. Again, he has a laundry list of things. He's financially backed by the Rothschilds and George Soros. He helped coordinate the 2020 COOF event, as well as he was part of Warp Speed, which he's still out there promoting it, saying that they should be called Trump scenes rather than V scenes. You know what I'm talking about. He's gone out there. He pardoned hundreds of criminals and didn't pardon the other people that should have been pardoned. I mean, he pardoned criminals, hundreds of them. He's also tried to divide Jerusalem. He wants to do the two-state solution, which there's still this idea that people, oh, he was never for that. That's exactly what he was for. He was trying to do it. The Abraham Accords, if people don't realize, if you want to look into it, that's part of the two-state solution, but it's also about creating an interfaith movement in Jerusalem as well, which has to do with uniting religions. And he's done things as far as the CARES Act. I just went over that and how that was pre-planned and ready to go. He's also the president that created one of the largest debt deficits in U.S. history. People don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about his economy, which, yeah, it looked good on the outside. People were doing all right. But at the same time, he was printing money faster than any other president in history. Kind of fascinating on how that interplays. He locked down the country, stunted travel, never got rid of anybody that he was supposedly said he was going to get rid of. He's friends with the Clintons. He was a Democrat and an actor before all of a sudden just instantly switching and all of a sudden going full force against him. You guys can even dig into, the Church of Satan. MAGA is actually the 5th level hierarchy in the Church of Satan by Anton LaVey. I could keep going on if I want to. He wanted to take away guns before due process, if you guys want to dig into that as well. I could keep going, but I'm not going to. He's also flip-flop on abortion. Everybody thinks, well, he's pro-life. Well, go back and look at some of the things he's back and forth. He also follows Norman Vincent Peale's theory of mind, the power of positivity belief. He absolutely loved that, and that's the religious belief that he holds to. He's not Christian, as people think. He actually admitted that, why should I need to repent? I don't need to. Well, that's kind of going in the way of being sinless. But yet the church absolutely will stand behind this guy and say, this is the guy that we need to get involved to fix everything. How can you ignore all of that and make the excuse, well, he's better than Biden? I'll throw it to you like this. I'll ask you this question. If both Trump and Biden are controlled, backed, and instructed by the same group, and they have both contributed to getting their agenda, that group's agenda, forward, how is he any better? Because the economy was okay and you saw some stuff going out there that was all right. If they all are under the same handlers, how is it any better? Because that seems to be everybody. Well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. Lesser of two evils, you're still voting for evil. Just because it's lesser doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing, as some people like to tell themselves. You can go through the laundry list of things that he has done and he continues to do, but yet you'll make an excuse for all of that because he has an R next to his name rather than a D. Again, just go back a few years and you'll see he always had that D next to his name, which just makes the flip all the more obvious when it comes to this stuff. This is just the reality of it. I understand everybody thinks that we can try and do something through politics. Again, I always promote go and take care of your school boards and your local communities and mayor's office and stuff like that. You can still have some, not everywhere, unfortunately, but there's still some out there that you can have some stand, some say in that. But when it comes to the top dogs, it's over. And I'm not saying that to be some Debbie Downer. I'm not saying that to be like super critical or anything. I just want the Christians, specifically those in the prophecy community that should know better. There's no fixing what's coming. Nothing is going to change what is coming, especially when the only two options are people who are controlled by the same group, the same Luciferian group. I understand this is hard to understand sometimes, but this is the reality of the situation that we're in right now. And I'm always telling people there's so many distractions going out there. Satan has created so many distractions in order to get you to stop doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is warn people of what is coming and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. But I see more people out there making fun of Biden and Democrats, trying to promote Trump, and I see nothing about the gospel. Let me tell you this. The mission field is those on the left. If your entire objective is to go out there to make fun of the left and to promote Trump, anything that you say after that, even if it is the gospel of Jesus Christ, they're not going to listen to you. Because you have already put up the wall, exactly as Satan wants you to do. You already put up that wall, blocking any truth or the gospel of getting through. Because you were more interested in talking about your politics. You were more interested in being distracted about something that in the long run is going to do absolutely no good. And you lost your opportunity to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is the fact. That is how all of this is created, all because you want to send in a vote in an election that you have already said was rigged because the other guy won last time, which I'm not even getting into if it was rigged or not. That's not even the point. But you're more interested in putting in a vote in an election that you've already admitted is rigged for a guy who's already controlled by the same people controlling the other guy. Did I mention a part of that CARES Act that Trump signed, promoted and financially backed the states for mail-in voting? I thought that was the Democrats. No, Trump signed it in that bill that was prepped a year before 2020 even happened. This is just, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. And so I might go ahead and end with this because this is something that needs to be talked about. In the 1990s, there was a card game called the Illuminati card game. And if you look at it, many of the cards on there are things that all just happen to really come true. I wonder why. And one of them is even this one. It's called the Terrorist Nuke card. And it quite obviously looks like 9/11. You can't deny that. It looks like 9/11. The two buildings, explosion, terrorists, you got it. Well, there's also several other cards in there that look very familiar. You've got the charismatic leader, which is a guy with blonde hair standing in front of the crowd, just shining like gold, winning everybody over. Then you have Enough is Enough, which the card looks like that is an angry Trump on there. And he's also had that speech where he's gone out there and he slammed it and said enough is enough. Then you have Teflon coating, which everybody knows about John Gotti, the mafia boss, who's known as Teflon Don. Well, Trump has also taken on that title as well for being called Teflon Don. And if you read the description of that card, it says play this card when a personality is attacked and enemy media groups are involved. All media attacks announced so far are canceled, and no other media groups may aid in attackers. It seems that the Trump card of this Illuminati card game has been played. And for those who support Trump, you've been played as well. Trump is not the answer. Trump is in the club. Trump has a laundry list, a box of receipts showing that he is in the club and he has done horrific, horrific things. Stop making excuses for this and understand that voting for the lesser of two evils actually isn't voting for a lesser evil. It's voting for the same evil as Biden. And we shouldn't partake in that. And this whole thing about, well, the Department of Justice is going after him and they're doing all these things. If the Department of Justice was actually going after him, he wouldn't be freely campaigning for presidency right now. The reason why that his name is flooded in the media for the Department of Justice of going after him is because it ignites the right. It causes more division and fire. Because when you have Biden, who is clearly on display of doing bad things, walking free, and then you have Trump, which apparently he's just done these minor things, and the Department of Justice is going, quote unquote, full force against him, and the media is displaying it as so. That does nothing but cause even more division. Exactly what they want. It is a show. It is theater. Get up out of the theater and walk out. Stop being distracted by the game Satan has you playing. There's no fixing this. Trump is a part of their team. And every time that you decide to push your politics, you lose a chance to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. I have tried to take a much, I don't necessarily want to say nicer approach in the past when it comes to this. Again, I've got countless videos where I'm showing all these things that Trump has been a part of. But at this moment in time, after some of the things that I've seen out there, it was time just to be blunt about it. I really hate talking about this. I really hate it. Because it's a distraction. And I hate seeing people, in Christians, those who watch prophecy, duped. Stop being played. And focus on what you need to focus on.